Anyway, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Are you cracking open a beer?
I'm having a beer.
Oh, man. I didn't get the memo. Again, that's the second time.
Do you want to run and grab a beer?
I haven't really got any in the house.
Gin?
I've got gin.
Always have alcohol to hand.
Well, I mean, I've got gin, but it is, 3:00 on a Monday afternoon. So I'm going to save the gin for later in the week.
It's the holidays.
I mean, it is, isn't it? Well, I don't really know what to say, to be honest with you. I don't really know what to say.
We should have prepared, should we?
We probably should have prepared a little bit more for this.
Probably, yeah.
Welcome to the 80% Mental Christmas special, I guess. I don't know. Is that what we're calling it?
Is this the Dr. Pete Christmas speech? Kind of like the Queen's Christmas speech?
Well, what would be better is if there wasn't a massive delay in between me speaking and you speaking, and then I could hear what was going on. But I think it's my internet.
Is that the internet or your brain?
Well, I think it's the internet. TalkTalk refunded me 16 whole pounds for the internet troubles that I've had. Well, I probably shouldn't use the word troubles with you, really. Should I?
Do you know, Pete, is that like £1 for every year it's taken off your life? So I suppose we are here to speak to our listeners today because it's the message, isn't it? It's the time of year when we have to say nice things and pretend that we are nice people.
Yeah, I didn't catch any of that. Internet went again.
Yeah, I didn't catch anything of what you said. I said it's a time of year when we have to pretend that we're nice people and say nice things. So I thought that this was our attempt at being nice, like Christmas nice.
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's it's a time for giving. So we want to give back something to our listeners who've been absolutely fantastic over the last. How long have we been doing this now? 3 months, 4 months? Seems like longer. We started in September, didn't we?
It must be longer than that. Was it not April we started? Did we start in September?
Yeah, 1st of September was our very first episode.
It feels like 2 years, Pete, if I'm honest.
It does. But yeah, our launch date was the 1st of September. Our very first episode with Dr. Jonathan Fader. What is sports psychology anyway?
That was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Fader's bits about motivational interviewing, sort of linking that in. That was really class. But it feels like, obviously we've been recording since April. Is that right? That feels like 6 years to me, Pete, if I'm honest. Nothing to do with the level of stress that this has caused us, but yeah, it feels like 6 years.
Yeah, it does feel like we've been doing this quite a while. But I mean, we rolled out 10 episodes in pretty quick time, to be honest with you. They were pretty much mostly done, I think, by the time we started the launch. We only had a few more to record. No one's going to be interested in any of this.
No, not at all.
No. Okay, let's do an actual start bit of it. Welcome to another episode of 80% Mental, all that stuff. Should we do that?
Yeah, okay. I'm just fucking about here trying to get better internet signal to make sure it's not me.
It probably is you.
Right. Okay. Right, let's go then. 3, 2.
Oh, you say one. You don't say one, do you? You do that thing that they do on television. 3, 2. That thing.
Professional. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to a Christmas special edition of 80% Mental. It's that time of year where we say and do lovely things for one another. And Hugh and I thought that as a special gift to you, our listeners, we would record a lovely just Christmas special episode. No guests, no script, nothing. Just Hugh and I wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hugh, how are you doing?
Not too bad, Pete. I'm feeling pretty special. Do you feel special today?
I do feel special, actually. Yeah, not for any particular reason. I just feel special.
I've got a question to ask you, Pete. And apologies, bringing family life into this. Your brother interviewed Barack Obama, and and your contrast is you're stuck with me. How does that feel?
I rely on people telling me that they've seen my brother on television.
Uh-huh. Is that how you keep tabs on him?
That is, yeah. Because otherwise I wouldn't
But
know,
like,
what with him being a television presenter and everything.
so like, I'm curious. So like, you must feel a little bit like your brother gets Barack Obama, and you get stuck with basically a fat hairy Irishman.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I also get a lot of other quality guests as well, just to balance out the fact that, I'm sitting opposite you for this podcast as well.
So, what about Christmas then? What's been your highlight for the year?
Well, I mean, let's face it, 2020 hasn't exactly been a year of highlights, has it? My brother interviewing Obama. I guess that counts as a highlight for me. Yeah, it's been a funny old year, hasn't it? 2020 started off all right.
Yeah, what for a day?
Started off all right for a couple of days, and then rapidly went to shit.
It was like 3 minutes in, it was forest fires across the entire world, even in Antarctica and everywhere else.
Yeah, not the greatest of years, but it's funny because I have been working from home, obviously, like many other people, and it's been difficult. It's been a challenge, working as a lecturer, doing everything remotely. But the benefit is that I've got to spend a whole lot more time with my family than I would have done if I'd been at work. I'm normally out of the house by sort of 5:30, 6 in the morning, not back till 6, 7 at night. And so just spending that time at home has just been absolutely brilliant. So there are a lot of people in far worse situations than I am. So I can't really complain too much. So yeah, highlights, not a lot, but in general, yeah, it hasn't been so bad. What about you?
I think the whole being at home thing has been great. I've just had a kid, so yeah, that's been interesting, and it's been nice being at home for that. Whereas I would have had been going to work. I suppose the other thing is 2020's kind of just been a bit of recalibration. It's like you start to realize what's important, and that's been quite nice.
Hmm.
And maybe prioritize things that are really good, like this. I think this podcast has been amazing. Like it's made 2020 worthwhile. I don't know, in terms of if we weren't doing this, what would 2020 have looked like? It would have just been a bit of a drag. This was fun. So I would say the podcast has been a real highlight, as well as all of the listeners. I can't believe how many people have been telling me and talking to me about the podcast, and people you just don't expect as well, saying nice things to you.
Hmm.
Because that rarely happens, but you know, it's nice just to hear that people are enjoying the podcast.
Yeah, it is. I'm absolutely just blown away, to be honest, by how it's been received, how many people have listened, how many people have been talking about it and kind of commenting on it. So I guess the first thank you of today should go to our listeners. Really, we have put a lot of work into it, but thank you for listening to it, and thank you for sharing it and all the retweets and comments. It's been an absolute pleasure doing it and knowing that it's getting listened to.
Yeah, thank you, listeners. You've give us your ears, and we haven't treated them too badly. And hopefully, we've got some more in store for you with season 2. Is there anything, Pete, that you're excited about that's coming up in season 2 that we might be able to sneak out and let them know what's coming up?
Um, well, I don't know about spoilers. I don't know about kind of sneak previews of what's coming up, but I am. We've recorded a few of them already, and I am
Yeah.
absolutely blown away by the quality of guests that we've had on so far, and the way that they have talked about their subjects and answered the questions that we've asked them about different topics in sport psychology. I think our listeners are going to be absolutely amazed by what's coming up in season 2, because I have been, while we've been recording it, I've been blown away by some of the content.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to get that out there. It's going to be it's going to be better than season one, which I didn't think was possible.
And we also don't want to, that's no disrespect to any of our guests from season one who are also incredible and amazing and wonderful. The guests in season two aren't better. It's not a competition, is what I'm trying to say. Everyone's been fantastic.
Yeah. And I suppose actually on that note, Pete, why did you dig yourself out of that hole? Nobody did say it was a competition. Nobody did say they were comparing them. That was all you there. So yeah, I'll
They're
be
going to be competitive, aren't they? Because they're working in sport, so naturally competitive. I just want to say it's not a competition. There's no winners.
I didn't think I was going to become the political spokesperson for APM podcast. But seeing as that's needed, I will just say thank you very much to all of our episode one and season one guests. Like, you have absolutely nailed it. And to be fair, this podcast hasn't been about us. It's been about you and what you've brought to it. So you've made it for us. Yeah, Pete's done a massive amount of work in the back room editing, and especially editing out a lot of things I've said. But thank you very much to our season one guests. You've absolutely nailed it, and our success is because of you. So thank you.
Right, what's next?
Pete, what's your worst Christmas cracker joke?
My worst Christmas cracker joke. I'm not a big fan of Christmas crackers for starters, right? Because they're rubbish. So I'm not massively. I mean, they are, aren't they? They're just not. Who thought Christmas crackers were fun? Whose idea was that? Yeah, you pull on that end, I'll pull on this end. It'll make a pop, and then there'll be some crap inside, like, I don't know, like a plastic pair of tiny glasses, or like,
Do you know what I want to know? I want to know who are the people who write the jokes, because like that is the lowest standard of job.
Well, I looked a few up, right? I looked a few of these jokes up. So I've got some in front of me now, and I'm going to read them out to you. And your goal is to not laugh. All right? See if you can do that. I mean, it should be pretty easy because none of them are funny.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Why did Santa go to the doctor? Because of his bad elf. No, it's not funny. Good. It's not though, is it? It's not funny. Okay.
It is funny. I like that.
I'll tell you what. I've got a sports psychology one here.
No
Ready?
way.
Why did Santa?
Sports psychologists don't make jokes.
No, it's a good one. It's not. Why did Santa's helper see the doctor?
Why did Santa's helper see the doctor?
Because he had low self-esteem.
Oh, that's not good.
I mean, it's kind of similar to the previous one, in fairness, isn't it?
It is, but it's bad as well because self-esteem is a terrible model to be used in sports psychology. I don't agree with self-esteem at all. So it's bad on two counts, theoretically.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough, and that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But we're telling Christmas cracker jokes here. We don't really need to get into an in-depth critique of, of theory.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so do you want another one?
Yeah, we'll go for another one.
Okay, let's see. What have we got? Yeah, this isn't very good. What do you get if you cross Santa with a detective?
The thing about these is, I think, they must be so bad you can work them out, and then you're flummoxed by your own lack of intelligence when you can't. So I'm done for Pete. I don't know.
So what do you get if you cross Santa with a detective? Santa clues. I mean, I told you it wasn't very good.
Yeah, that was.
I'll try and find a sound effect to put in over that one.
Silence.
No, I'll try and find a tumbleweed sound effect, because these are all awful.
So, Pete, speaking about things that are not awful, the artwork for 80% Mental, that is pretty snazzy, and I quite like the idea of, if you look good, then people think you are good. I think that's, and it's a thing within psychology. Like the better you're presented,
Mm.
the more professional look, the more professional status you have. We all know this, but like we have had massive help in the artwork department, and I think we need to do a bit of a shout out there to our wonderful behind the scenes person for the artwork.
My wonderful sister, who is a designer, kindly agreed to do the artwork for the podcast, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I did not, when I asked her to do it for me, I didn't. I was going to say I didn't expect it to be that good. I did expect it to be that good, but I didn't expect what she came up with at all. And it's fantastic, and it's iconic, and it is a beautiful piece of art, the cover art for the podcast, and I'm so thrilled with how that turned out. I think it's absolutely perfect for what we wanted it to be, really. So thank you to my wonderful sister for taking the time to do that. And I also want to thank Alice for helping with the editing. So Alice basically taught me how to use the editing software, because she has a unique set of skills.
Is that like Liam Neeson?
Well, actually, it is a bit like Liam Neeson. She does have a unique set of skills. She is a second dan black belt in karate as well. So not only can
Okay,
she
so
help edit a podcast, she will also kick your ass.
wow,
Yeah,
we are the most dangerous podcast
I know.
on the internet.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you've listened to the season 1 trailer, she helped us put that together. I couldn't have done that without her, and that's basically why I learned how to do editing. So if you haven't listened to the season 1 trailer yet, go back and listen to it. Well, actually, no, it doesn't make sense. Why would you listen to it when you've listened to all the episodes? Because all of the stuff that's in the trailers in the episodes. But anyway, but I do want to thank Alice for her help with, like I said, helping me learn the ropes of editing audio, which has been invaluable because there's been a lot of editing involved.
Sorry, Pete. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, what you don't know,
say those things.
No, well, what you don't know, Hugh, is that during the editing process, I've actually been collecting outtakes, and at some point, we will be releasing a blooper reel of outtakes from the 80% Mental podcast. They're all there. They're all still there. I don't think there's anything that's going to get us into legal trouble. So I think we're okay on that point. To be honest, it's mostly just us just saying swear words and stuff. Hugh, is there anyone that you want to thank as well for helping us out?
Yeah, well, there's two important people I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank my uncle Liam, who is a musician, and he came along and he gave us a lot of tips on how to make things sound lovely for your ears. And if you want to check him out, his band is called Beoga. Yeah, Beoga. If you're interested. But he has basically helped us make it all sound good, and also helped with teaching Pete how to edit out and make things sound good, even though I've said nasty things. So thanks, Liam. But I have another person that I'd like to thank, and I'd like to thank you, Pete. So you didn't expect that, but you've actually done an amazing job of all the effort you put in, and I know you're like carrying the flag for this. So yeah, I think it's fair that you get a bit of EPM love, and yeah, well done, Pete, for just carrying the can and dragging us over the finish line. You've really driven it, so well done.
No, thank you. That's I really appreciate that. If I had a couple of beers, if you told me that this was a drinking session podcast, I might get a little bit emotional. But I haven't had a couple of beers, so I'm all right, to be honest. But no, thanks, Hugh. And to be honest, same to you. You know, this podcast wouldn't be what it is without you being right there alongside me. Well, I'll say alongside me. We're doing it on the internet, so you're not anywhere near me. But the podcast wouldn't be what it is without you along for the ride as well. So it has, well, the first series has been absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for people to hear what's coming up in series 2. And I'm not just talking about the insane new drum loops that we've got, as well as
we've got new drum loops.
Do you know what? Yeah, I spent an evening just trawling the internet, and we've got some pretty shit hot drum loops to throw in, as well as our silky smooth double bass intro, which I think people actually like more than the podcast itself.
One thing that the listeners really do like is our guests, and I think fair play to all of our guests who have come in and put up with numerous nuclear level technical interruptions at times.
Well, I
So
mean,
I think
let's not
we've
let's not dispel the myth. Let's not ruin people's idea that this is a smooth production. If people want to believe that we are at the top of our technical game, then let's let them believe that. Let's not talk about the unbelievable fuck ups that we've had putting this podcast together. Let's just leave that out.
Okay.
Let's not talk about that.
So I'm going to retract that. We have been entirely professional technically and are 100% technically proficient.
Yeah, just leave it at that.
We're moving on.
Works for me.
Right. So I think there's also a few other things that have been quite good for us, and it would be remiss of us not to give them a bit of a shout out. John Sutton interviewed us for the BPS Psych Mag, and that was pretty big, Pete. I'm pretty sure, and I know you're fairly academic, and you've won your
fairly academic. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that wasn't supposed to be me throwing shade. That was me trying to do you do a bit of this. But yeah, Pete does a bit of academic
2 minutes ago, and then you just take it away.
You've been in the Psych Mag before, have you?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so it's no big deal to you. It's like standard issue. Whereas I'm like, look, they've let me in the big massive magazine. This. I mean, they probably promptly pushed me back out the side door, but it was nice to be in there for a bit. So thanks, John Sutton, for allowing us in there to have a big rant about sport and sports psychology and the 80% Mental podcast. The other organization we should thank as well is the BASIS Committee for giving us SEPAR approval. So SEPAR is the Sport and Exercise Psychology accreditation route. And we are now, because of them, a recognised and approved material for sport and exercise psychologists in training, which I don't know about you, Pete, but that's kind of cool to think that not only are, our friends and family listen to this, but also people who are training to become sports psychologists. So yeah, thank you very much, BASIS, for that accolade and letting us say that we're cool enough to be in your gang.
I don't even know how to follow that. We're not even cool enough to be in the BASIS gang. I mean, is it a bit like, I don't know, is it a bit like the Jets and the Sharks? The BASIS and the BPS?
See, I don't know who the Jets and the Sharks are.
Is that reference lost on you? West Side Story.
Yeah.
Two rival gangs.
Right. No, that's lost on me, Pete.
Montagues and Capulets. Bloods and Crips.
Bloods and Crips. So, no, I think we're done on the whole gang references there, Pete. And I don't know, unless you want to talk like Peppa Pig and SpongeBob SquarePants or something, like that's about the height of it for me. I don't know the difference. I'm not up on gang warfare.
So I feel like we should do more Christmassy stuff because it's Christmas, and it was the whole point of doing this was a Christmas special. So yep. I don't know, what do we want to say to our listeners, apart from Merry Christmas, and I hope that 2021 is good.
I'm going to just say that Merry Christmas, and I hope 2021 is better. I'll settle for better, not good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Have a better 2021.
Yeah. Have we got anything else to say? Is there anything else that we want to say again, but better? Well, I mean, in fairness, and I'll probably squeeze this in somewhere in this episode, we have been called the best sports psych podcast that's out there, haven't we?
We have, by Lawrence Halstead, one of our listeners. Lawrence plays with sharp objects, I believe. He's a fencer. Not the kind that you put up around fields. That's a different sort of fencing.
That was as good as these Christmas jokes that I was reading earlier. Why did the reindeer cross the road? Why did the reindeer cross the road? To deliver presents. That's not even a joke. That doesn't make sense. That's not a joke. That's terrible.
That's not good.
Right. Anyway,
so there is actually, we do need to thank. There's been a bit of, and I'm not going to go into names here, but there have been a large number of people who have promoted our podcast for us within the industry and on other podcasts as well. So there's too many people to name there, but to all those guys who are listening, who have given us a shout out and recommended that we listen and endorse our podcast, that's been exceptional. Thank you very much. The tweets, and my God, Pete, we nearly forgot those lovely people who write the reviews on Apple.
Those people are class.
Those people are class. Those people are what Christmas is all about. Those people who write reviews on Apple are what Christmas is about. So yeah, that really helps us because it makes us look legitimate and not like two people who are just messing around in their bedrooms and making noises.
We are legitimate. We are perfectly legitimate. We're technically proficient. We are a legitimate podcast. We don't need people to make us look legitimate. The people who are leaving lovely Apple reviews are acknowledging our legitimacy. That's how I like to think of it anyway.
Okay. The people, we have really done well to fool those people and their ears into thinking that they're getting high quality. I'm not going to berate the podcast anymore. I'm just really happy that people are so happy enough to leave reviews, and thank you very much. Yep. Well done, guys. That's made our day. Every time you leave a review, it makes me smile just a little bit.
Right. I think we're pretty much done with this whole Christmas special. So we just want to finish off really by saying we hope that you have a very Merry Christmas. Of course, if you're listening to this, in January, then you can just save that Merry Christmas wish until next year. But we hope that you have a very Merry Christmas and a happy 2021. Oh, wait a minute, because we want to talk about... So we have been, as we've mentioned, working pretty hard on bringing season 2 to you. And if you appreciate what we've done in season 1 and you want to help us out in season 2, then you can always buy us a coffee, and that will go a long way to helping us produce or continue to produce what we hope is a quality podcast. So you can do that by going to our Twitter handle, which is EPM Podcast, at EPM Podcast. And if you click on the link in our Twitter bio, you can access all of our season 1 episodes. And if you're feeling really generous, you can buy me a coffee. You don't need to worry about Hugh. He's got beer. But you can buy us a coffee, and that'll really help us out in terms of carrying on producing the podcast. Do a Merry Christmas to finish off with.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. Have a good one. And, we'll see you next time.
We won't see them, Hugh.
Will we not?
It's a podcast.
Oh, yeah.